The story starts with our boy Joe getting absolutely obliterated in the ring. His opponent isn't holding back, jab after jab, hit after hit, until one final punch sent him crashing to the floor. The crowd's roaring, his coach is screaming, but Joe's vision starts to fade. And right before everything goes dark, he sees her, standing ringside, praying he doesn't get hurt. That single image hits harder than the punch. And just like that, Joe's mind drifts back to the day he first met her. It was his first day at a new high school. She walked up to him, handed him his phone, and smiled. That was Suman. And at that exact moment, our boy fell hard. But to understand how deep that he was, you gotta know where he came from. Back at his old school, he was basically the gang's punching bag. The boss would make him run errands all day, then thank him with a few bruises. One day, while Joe was choking from another lesson, the boss's girlfriend accused him of staring at her feet. Yeah, feet. That was all it took for the whole gang to turn him into a training dummy again. Beaten and humiliated, Joe came to a painful realization. Everyone around him had a girlfriend, except him. So he made a simple promise to himself. New school, new life, and this time, I'm getting a girlfriend. Fast forward. Suman hands him his phone, turns to leave. Joe panics, heart racing, and blurts out, "Wait!" He wants to confess, but his throat locks up. Suman tilts her head, unimpressed. "If you've got nothing to say, I'm leaving." That's when Joe finally finds the courage and shouts out, "Can I take you on a date?" "What?" she asks, trying to hear him over a passing bus. Fate, apparently, thought this was the perfect time to troll him. Joe's brain's melting down thinking what to do. And before he knows it, he's literally following her home. She stops, turns, and yells, "What's your problem, stalker?" Joe gulps, trembling, then blurts out again, "Would you go out with me?" Suman's eyes narrow. Then, bam! She swings a punch straight at his face. Luckily, Joe blocks with pure reflex, but she follows up with a clean hit to the gut. He folds. "Sorry," she says, brushing him off, "but you're too weak for me," then walks away like nothing happened. As Joe's lying there trying to process what just happened, he notices the sign above her house, Suman's boxing gym. Her dad steps out, cigarette in hand, calling her in to warm up. Then his gaze lands on Joe. He saw that defensive reflex, that split-second reaction, and smirked. He walks up, drops his cigarette, and places his hand on Joe's shoulder. "Kid, ever thought about becoming a boxer?" And just like that, our boy's fate was sealed. From that day forward, Joe hit the boxing gym every single day. I mean, who wouldn't when she's always there? Days went by, and Suman started noticing Joe's progress. One afternoon, she asked her dad quietly, "Hey, how's he doing?" Her father just smiled. "If things keep going the way they are, everything will be perfect." Until that specific day. Cut to the classroom. The door bursts open. A group of bullies strolls in like they own the place. They call it collecting dues to end school violence. Suman rolls her eyes, muttering under her breath. But one of them, a blonde-headed jerk with an eagle the size of the gym, hears her. He turns, smirking. "What was that? You say something?" He lifts his hand like he's about to hit her. Suman doesn't even flinch. "You're gonna hit me?" she says, staring straight into his eyes. He hesitates, hand frozen midair, then laughs it off. "Of course not. I'm not that kind of guy." Then he leans closer, voice dripping with mock sympathy. "By the way, still living with your disabled dad?" He grins. "You look tense. Is it because you're on a diet?" "Don't worry. As a friend, I'll help you out." And before anyone can react, he grabs her diet juice and pours it all over her. The room erupts in laughter. Suman clenches her fists, trembling with rage. That was the final straw. She stands up, ready to fight. But then, a calm voice cuts through the noise. "Stop it." The entire classroom goes silent. It's Joe. Everyone turns. The kid who barely talked, now standing between Suman and the bullies. "What kind of mess are you making in a class that's not even yours?" Joe says coldly. The blonde bully narrows his eyes, stepping closer. "The hell did you just say to me?" Joe's heartbeat pounds in his ears. He doesn't want to fight here. He's a boxer. He knows what a real punch can do. But watching Suman humiliated like that, he can't just sit and watch. He remembers her words. "You're too weak for me. And maybe, just maybe, it's time to prove her wrong." Suman frowns, confused, thinking, why is this guy staring at me like that? In Joe's mind, though, it's clear as day. "Suman, don't worry, I got this." The blonde guy snarls and lunges forward. When someone talks to you, you answer. Joe doesn't even flinch. In a flash, he counters, his fist snapping up, stopping just inches from the bully's face. The whole classroom freezes as Joe looks him dead in the eye and starts counting down. Joe had counted down to 1 and launched his second punch, but it didn't land. Instead, his fist slammed straight into the locker behind the bully, with enough force to make the whole room shake. The metal bent inward, and Joe's knuckles completely shattered. He froze. Pain flooded through his arm like electricity. "Did I just break my hand?" he thought, trying not to scream. Across the room, Suman just sighed. To her, he looked less like a hero and more like an idiot trying too hard. But the class, they ate it up. Cheers erupted. "Bro destroyed the locker with 1 punch. Yo, I think he cracked that guy's skull." And just like that, the rumor mill went wild. Everyone believed Joe pulled his punch on purpose, sparing the bully out of mercy. The truth? He just missed. Behind that cold, composed face, Joe was screaming inside, his hand throbbing like hell. But he refused to show weakness, especially not in front of her. The blonde bully Kyung finally spoke up. "Who even is this guy?" Then, pretending to be chill, he muttered, "Anyway, I gotta go, my grandpa's funeral or whatever." As he left, one of his friends whispered, "Dude, your grandpa's still alive." Kyung's face went pale. Meanwhile, Joe was still standing frozen, hand jammed into the locker. Everyone stared, whispering, "Bro's fist is stuck from punching too hard." In reality, he was seconds away from crying in pain. But when he finally turned around, he forced a confident smirk. "So, y'all gonna be my friends now?" Dead silence. Still, the legend had already begun. By the next day, everyone at school was talking about the mysterious new student who shattered a locker with 1 punch. Some claimed he was an ex-gang leader from his old school. Others said he trained at a secret boxing gym. Wherever he went, whispers followed. When Joe passed through the halls, students moved aside like he carried divine wrath. And for the first time in his life, people actually looked at him with respect. He liked that, especially when Suman walked by. She looked even prettier now that she knew his name. Emboldened by the rumors, Joe went all in, walking right up to her, but this time with a cocky grin. Cut to the nurse's office. Joe's hand was wrapped in a thick splint. The nurse said calmly, "Avoid injuries for a while. You'll heal fine, but boxing is off limits for now." Joe just stared at his bandaged hand, replaying the moment in his head. Why had he punched the locker? Because his emotions got the better of him. His stance was off, his balance broken, and his shoulder weakened. It wasn't power, it was pure chaos. But deep down, he felt something new. So this is what a real fight feels like. Later that night, he visited the coach, old man Miyagi. The coach wasn't happy. "You're taking a whole month off just because of 1 injury?" he barked. "Time's not something you can waste, kid." Joe, clueless as ever, just blinked. "I literally broke my hand, coach." The old man groaned, clutching his head. Truth was, he wasn't just mad, he was desperate. The gym was drowning in debt. He sighed, staring at Joe. "Kid, it'd be a damn shame to waste your talent." Joe's eyes widened. "Talent? Yeah, I've got a match lined up for you soon. Don't quit now." Joe glanced at his bandaged hand, despair creeping in. How the hell am I supposed to fight like this? That's when Suman spoke up from behind, arms crossed. "This guy, he can't even do a flash punch. He's not even close to Thomas." Joe frowned. "Flash punch?" The coach's eyes suddenly lit up. "That's it," he muttered, grinning like a mad scientist. He slapped Joe on the back. "Listen up, you're gonna master the flash punch, but with your left hand." Now, who's Thomas? The man's a legend, 5-time champion, undefeated. His jab was so fast that it could split the air. But his real weapon? A technique passed down from the era of Hansu Kwan, the flash punch. And for some insane reason, the coach decided Joe was the next Thomas. "Kid, you'll crush your enemies with your left hand alone." Even Suman's curiosity was piqued. And Joe, he found the spark again. If he couldn't use his right, he'd make his left a weapon of destruction. He trained like a man possessed, punching the bag, punching trees, punching a waterfall. He even started dipping his hand into boiling water just to toughen it up. Everyone thought he'd lost his mind. After 20 years of running the gym, the coach had seen all kinds of lunatics. But Joe, he had the worst talent of them all. Still, he had heart. And more importantly, he kept the membership money flowing. When training ended, Joe slipped off his splint and pocketed it. He didn't want the world to see weakness. Cut to school again. Kyung's crew was losing it, mocking him for backing down yesterday. "Didn't you say your grandpa died? Guess he resurrected, huh?" Kyung grabbed his lackey by the collar, face twitching. The others tried to calm him, but his pride was gone. He kicked the can and stormed off, humiliated. "Yesterday was just luck," one muttered. "Nah, bro. Nobody even saw him fight. Maybe he really is strong." Kyung heard everything, and that was the last straw. He pulled out a small blade, eyes burning. Meanwhile, the second-year leader, Wong-gyu, a calm, cat-loving nerd with perpetually closed eyes, sighed, "Kyung is losing it again." Moments later, Kyung stormed into Joe's classroom, shoving the door open. Everyone froze. Joe barely looked up. Suman groaned, "Not this idiot again." But Kyung was trembling, gripping the knife, breathing hard. And then he charged. The class gasped. Suman's eyes widened. Even the bullies hesitated. But before the blade could land, Kyung's fat friend sprinted like his life depended on it, tackling him from the side. It was actually impressive. Maybe the first useful side character in the whole story. The knife went flying and landed right on Joe's hand. Everyone screamed. Kyung froze, but Joe just looked at it, confused. No blood, no pain. Then he realized the splint had saved him. Calmly, he pulled the knife out of his hand. The room fell silent again. He took a slow step towards Kyung, eyes dark, aura heavy. Kyung started shaking uncontrollably, ready to beg for his life. He stopped right in front of him and gently handed the knife back to him. "Be careful next time." Everyone just stood there, stunned. Suman finally exhaled, not for worry for Joe, but relief that her dad's paying customer hadn't died. The funniest part? The bullies totally misread Joe's dead serious face. They thought he was giving them that "I'll hunt you down and tear you apart later" stare. The bell rang. Students flooded the hallways, chatting and laughing, while Joe stood there staring at a boxing poster. "The regional championship," he muttered. "That's the one Coach Hu told me about." A slow grin spread across his face. In his head, he was already him, winning belts, crowd screaming his name, lights flashing, cameras clicking. Man was mentally undefeated. Reality check, something brushed his leg. He looked down, it was a cat. He gasped, picked it up like it was a holy relic, and instantly went soft. "Who's the cute little warrior? You are." But then, from the corner, a voice called out, "Hey, come here, Whiskers." Joe turned. Oh no, the cat had an owner. And it was that weird, nerdy guy from before. Before Joe could react, the cat jumped out of his hands and sprinted away. Honestly, I wouldn't trust that guy with a plant, let alone a pet. The nerd, Wong-gyu, didn't even blink. He just watched his cat go, then shifted his gaze to the same boxing poster. Something about him felt off. He glanced at Joe, folded his arms, and stood way too close. Joe froze. Personal space? Never heard of it. Wong just smirked, walked past him, and left in silence. But that one look, it screamed, "See you in the ring." Cut to the gym. Coach Hugh is yelling like a banshee. "Are you out of your mind? Entering a high school boxing tournament after 3 months of training?" But our guy's ego had already hit orbit. He smirked, confident as ever. "Coach, don't worry. I've got this. My flash punch is unstoppable." The coach looked like he aged 10 years on the spot. If Joe actually joined and got wrecked, it wouldn't just be a loss. The coach's loan payments were on the line. So he switched tactics. "Listen, kid," he said, forcing a smile. "You're too good for this tournament. It's like Michael Jordan joining a middle school basketball team." And of course, Joe, with his galaxy-sized ego, nodded. "Yeah, that makes sense." Coach wiped his sweat from his forehead. Crisis averted. Or so he thought. Because deep down, Joe's fists were itching.
He wanted to fight, to prove himself. So he entered anyway. Coach nearly fainted. If he goes in like this, he's getting KO'd in round 1. Unable to stop him, he decided to assign a new coach to keep the kid alive. Joe agreed, and his new training began.